Welcome back to the Wrestling Podcast. It's Friday night.
Friday night.
We're back. Night one of the draft tonight.
It's draft week, actually.
Yes,
It's draft
right.
week, actually, especially if you're an NFL fan. And I gotta tell you, I am happy with this team did so far. I've heard some comments online they're not very happy, but some people aren't happy about it. What do you know?
The fuck do you know?
Well, more than some of them.
Fair enough. Yeah. So without any introduction needed, that's Andrew. I'm Doug.
Uncle Andrew's here.
But before we get into SmackDown and recap the first night of the draft, there's been some things happening since we last all spoke on Tuesday.
Exactly. Before that, guys, make sure if you like the content, make sure you like, share, subscribe down below. It's a small punch for you, and a big thing for us. Thank you very much. Continue on.
So, which road do you want to lead down first? The hilariousness that was Wednesday and Thursday, or the business side of things?
Some of the comedy.
Okay, cool. So, for those that may not have seen on Dynamite Wednesday night, the show closed with Jack Perry hitting Tony Khan in the stomach with a microphone.
Yeah.
And when the Elite came down to quote unquote save him,
Yep.
turned around, gave him a Meltzer driver.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just like, I understand it's supposed to be a seriously heavy angle.
Yep.
But I told you yesterday
Mm-hmm.
that if he showed up to the draft wearing a fucking neck brace, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Well, at least it shows continuity.
And sure as shit,
Continuity's a thing. At least he's following in storyline.
we have the NFL Network talking about AEW.
That's good. It's good promotion for them. It's actually a good thing.
It should be, until you heard what Tony Khan said earlier today.
I didn't know. What did Tony Khan say?
Okay, so yes, the NFL Network interviewed Tony Khan.
Yep.
And I could not keep a straight face. And then he said something a little on the controversial side.
Okay.
He called AEW Pepsi, and they're going up against the evil juggernaut that's the WWE. And he said that the WWE is the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling. Now, this comment can be taken a variety of ways, given current circumstances and lawsuits pending. But also, like I can see where people did have a problem with it.
Yep.
But I can also see where people were like, I mean, he's not wrong. You know?
Okay. Well, I'm going to chime in here for this one.
Go for it.
Okay. First off, continuity is a good thing. At least he's showing that he's going to the storyline and think that's good. He needs to learn how to take maybe a little punch a little bit better and actually show where it hurts a little bit faster than going on the ground. They're going, oh God, my side. That's number one. But at least he's showing he's a neck brace on and he's showing that okay, he's hurt. Got to play a story. Great, good for you. Secondly, though, keep the WWE out your mouth. Literally. Keep it out of your mouth. Take the advice of Will Smith. What he did to Chris Rock. Right? Keep it out of your mouth. They don't mention you ever.
Well,
very rarely do they make jabs.
Well, they did take digs in media leading up to WrestleMania a couple of weeks ago.
They do. But it's not exactly like it's like you're blatantly calling their name on TV. They're not doing that to you.
Yeah, they're not. Well, the only time they really reference AEW.
The last time I remember they referenced AEW was when this company first started years ago with Sami Zayn.
No, it's
at least that's the last time I heard.
No. If you remember, like there was a lot of Cody's story. A lot of Cody's story revolved around the fact, like, I mean, Roman a few times said, You went and started a company you couldn't get over it,
Oh, but
which
he
is
never
not
actually physically mentioned the company name, did he?
right. You're not, yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where I'm getting my
But
point here.
that's WWE style, which is why like that one liner from Kurt Angle a bunch of years ago
Yeah,
is hilarious about telling Owens and Zayn that TNA's hiring.
yeah,
Um,
but
but
yeah,
I mean, yeah, given the context of current events, I don't know if bringing a controversial figure such as Harvey Weinstein in trying to kind of like throw a jab at your competition, I don't know if that's the right way to go.
you're comparing somebody. Well, okay, Vince allegedly has raped allegedly
Yeah.
what one, two,
Who?
who Vince?
Okay. Are we talking Vince?
Yeah,
Because like the
yeah,
numbers in the dozens.
okay.
Yes.
Weinstein did the same thing, but like that was
Yeah.
Weinstein. That wasn't an actual company. There's a little bit of a difference. It's a person who did it,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
But keep it out your mouth. You don't need stuff like this. You just, I mean, I understand you're trying to build yourself, but don't act like you guys are innocent in a lot of things too. Because eventually shit will probably come out with you guys too. So it happens everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the angle is concerned,
Yeah,
the coverage that this has gotten on the NFL Network during the draft the last
yeah,
couple of days
yeah.
is hilarious. You had Pat McAfee
Well,
during his draft spectacular last night
yeah.
comment about taking the Meltzer driver, and one of the guys he had on the show um, said to Tony, he said, at least like keep the fucking gimmick and not and like if you're trying to sell that you broke your neck, don't be moving your neck around like a fucking idiot.
Very true.
So uh maybe that's what kind of set Tony off to do that. But
Maybe.
they even asked the Jags draft pick, that wide receiver.
Oh, really?
They asked him about it.
No.
And
Jesus.
this, you could tell this was a kid, like he's probably never watched a single minute of wrestling in his life.
Probably not.
But did you ever think in the year of our
It,
Savior 2024
yep.
that we would be hearing professional wrestling being talked about in a like literally in a not joking way? NFL wrote a fucking article about this.
Well, to be honest, yeah, I'm a little surprised. I'm not surprised too, just because it's like the wrestling now is starting to become back as popular as it was back in the '90s,
Yeah.
right? In the '90s, you had guys, like the NWO and all stuff in the NFL wearing NWO shirts and Austin 316s and stuff like that. So, and wrestling culture in general, look out like wrestling culture in general in this day and age. Look at Ric Flair. Now, despite what you want to say about Ric Flair as far as trying to wrestle still or whatever,
Or the human being.
right? Human being, right? He's become like a pop culture person, all right?
He's been
Everyone
a pop
knows the woo, everyone knows all that stuff,
he's been
right?
a pop culture icon since like 1981.
Exactly. So, and he's
Like
more so even known now
there
because a lot of people know who he is now.
but Rick is like an anomaly. He's
Yeah.
one of the few stars that transcended the business.
Hulk Hogan, Sting.
Hulk Hogan,
Like George Kittle for the tight end for the 49ers is a massive wrestling fan. He wears a
yeah,
luchador mask a lot, actually. Like big Rey
that I
Mysterio
know.
fan. So like he's
Whenever whenever there's a big event and during the NFL off season, he's
yeah.
there.
Hell, he's
Uh,
even a Super Bowl. I think he got no last year. I think it was game two of the season 49ers. Maybe it was the year before. He
yeah,
got a Penta
you
El
got a
Zero
mask.
Miedo mask
Yeah, you got a mask for
from
Penta
Penta, which is pretty cool actually.
because Penta's a 49ers fan.
Yeah,
But
poor choice, but okay.
he's probably,
Yeah,
I
whatever.
mean, the California connection, he's
Oh
probably,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
you know,
But yeah,
but yeah, anyways,
I mean,
I didn't think we'd end up talking about so much about the NFL draft without actually talking about the NFL draft.
well, we can talk about it really quickly here. Cowboys drafted a big lineman in the first round. 6'7",
Good,
200,
good for them.
322-pound tackle.
Hmm.
The big boy.
The big boy that the Chargers took at 5.
That's a big boy too.
And
That's a big boy.
okay, we're on the subject. I'm gonna ask you,
Sure.
did the Falcons make the right choice?
If you're gonna look, okay, that was the 10th overall pick. I'm correct. 10th or 12th.
8th.
8th. Okay. So
They took that that southpaw quarterback, uh, Michael Perro or something like
yeah,
that.
the last good southpaw was Michael Vick.
Yeah,
So you signed Kirk Cousins the offseason.
4 years, 180 million.
Now, this isn't a Brett Favre situation with Aaron Rodgers or an Aaron Rodgers with a Jordan Love situation. It's not. Because both these guys are established. Kirk Cousins he's established, but he's not he's not a Brett Favre, he's not an Aaron Rodgers. Put it that way.
Well, no, he's not.
Right.
I would,
If I was planning on drafting a quarterback in the first round, especially
I
at
wouldn't have
eighth,
signed Cousins.
especially at eighth, I wouldn't sign Cousins at all. I wouldn't even try to. I would let him go somewhere else because that's stupid. Because if he beats out your $180 million man, because like, right now Cousins is the starter.
Yeah,
So
of
you
course.
drafted the guy 8th overall.
But I mean,
unless you don't have any faith in Kirk Cousins staying healthy all year, which is possible.
But you have Falcons management saying, like, we're in a situation where he can sit for 4 or 5 years and learn under Kirk.
Oh, is that right?
And the way I think about that is like, I look at the fact like Justin Fields
got hosed. He got hosed in Chicago.
Justin Fields was a top 10 pick.
He got hosed in Chicago.
And they move on after 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. My mistake.
But he got hosed, right? You look at who they've drafted.
Who was the one that got dealt to the Cowboys?
Oh, yeah,
the Niners.
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Wasn't he
he was a top 10 pick.
I thought, yeah, I figured top 5, top 10.
I think it's top 5, but it might be. I'm just saying top 10 because I can't remember if it was top 5 or not.
Right. And they move on from him after, whatever.
Well, he tore his ACL second year. He was actually able to play. Like, to be honest,
it was literally an Alex Smith situation.
Yeah. And to be honest,
happening again like 10 years later.
Look, this isn't enough. Like, when Aaron Rodgers was drafted by the Packers behind Brett Favre, he was the heir apparent. Now, Favre, did he know Favre was going to play because he had forced out after a couple of years? No. Right?
But he still got to learn from, at the time, the consensus best quarterback in the league.
That's what, at the time, considered one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, exactly.
He still is. But
I mean, I think like you could think of 3 guys that played while Favre played that are
better, yeah. But at that point in time,
yeah, like 2004 when Rodgers was drafted.
Yeah, there was no one.
Or 2005,
like Brady was still kind of established himself. Yeah, he won Super Bowls. He still established himself. So
Brady had won 3 Super Bowls by that point.
He still established himself. But for the most part,
crazy that you say that, considering he already had 3 Super Bowls.
Because Favre was Favre at that point in time. That's why. When you look at where the levels were at the time, there's a lot of guys who win 3 Super Bowls who don't get any farther than that. Just because you won 3 Super Bowls means nothing, right? Brady at the time was still you can argue Brady was better in his 30s, his late 30s, than he was ever in his 20s.
Brady was better in his 40s than he was in his 30s.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So
he was playing the best football of his career at 42 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
right. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm not happy by all. because you're playing that quarterback. If you think Kirk Cousins get hurt in the first year of that contract, that's your out. And another thing too, remember Tony Romo?
Mm,
When they drafted Dak Prescott
I
in the
remember
third
this.
round,
Yep.
Tony was
Tony got
Tony,
hurt in the preseason.
Tony got hurt in the preseason. What did Dak Prescott do? What happened to Tony Romo in around week 10, week
He got
11 that
Alex
year?
Smith.
Yeah, Alex
He,
Smith. He
he
sat the
got
rest of the
Alex
year
Smith.
and retired.
Now, for those of you that don't understand what being Alex Smith means, in 2012, the
Happened to him
Niners,
twice.
it did happen to him twice, but I'm talking mainly the first time.
Yeah.
Um, he was quarterback for the Niners. They got off to an incredible start that year. I think they were like 11-2,
Yeah.
and then he suffered a concussion. And in his place, while he was recovering, stepped in a young Colin Kaepernick.
It was his second year in the league.
Yeah, and it was like
He didn't even take a snap the first year.
And it was like the second coming of fucking Michael Vick. It was a right-handed Michael Vick.
Yeah.
And, you know, but he just played so well that by the time Smith got healthy, I mean, they were heading to the playoffs, but
yeah.
you're riding the hot hand in that situation.
Same thing happened to Romo.
And Kaepernick took them all the way to the Super Bowl.
The same thing happened to Romo. Romo got injured the preseason.
Except Dak didn't take anybody to the Super Bowl.
No, but like it's similar, but didn't take anybody to the Super Bowl. Don't forget too, that Niners team too also had a fucking loaded fucking team.
I know
and who was that head coach? Because he's your head coach now.
I know. It's
Keep that in mind.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Right. And who was my head coach at the time? Jason Garrett.
Right. Well, so Jerry had a thing for Jason. I don't know.
Yeah,
he kept him there way too long.
Of course he did.
But that's my point, though, right?
Yeah.
So to circle it all back and kind of get back on track.
Yeah.
Falcons made the wrong move. I don't know what their other positional needs were, but it wasn't quarterback, especially when you just signed
wide receiver, tackle. You could have done a lot of things.
You just signed Kirk Cousins literally like 3 weeks ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Right. So
wow, yeah, but yeah, we'll say three. We'll say like a month and a half, though.
Right. So this gets done, and then your draft strategy is to go QB at 8.
Unless you're planning on trading that QB the next year, or you plan on playing him, it's a dumb move. You better hope to God, Kurt.
It's confusing.
Well, Jordan Love was drafted a couple of years ago. They sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years. But Aaron Warren was time in Green Bay.
Exactly. Right? It was the perfect timing.
And to be honest with you, let's go back to the Bears really quickly there.
Actually,
right? Justin Fields, when I say Justin Fields got screwed, have you seen what they drafted for Caleb Williamson? Like his wide receiver and all that, and like a tackle, everything. Like, they set this kid up for success, whereas Justin Fields got screwed.
Oh yeah, royally
screwed. And I feel bad for that kid because he is a good quarterback. He just has the wrong head coaches and the wrong system.
So Justin's in Pittsburgh now, right?
Yeah, I played Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, I know Fields has started in the league for 2 years now.
Yeah.
I understand that. But it would not hurt sitting behind Russell Wilson for the year, half the year, whatever.
Really really screwed up.
Yeah. I mean,
he really screwed up.
And that surprised me too, because he was just drafted last year, wasn't he?
2 years ago.
Okay. But
he got should have kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
But then again, Pittsburgh shouldn't have done that in the first place. Pittsburgh's in a win now mode, and they're not going to happen. You're not going to win Russell Wilson. Not unless you have a defense that can complement Russell Wilson like they did in Seattle those years ago. You ain't doing shit with Russell Wilson.
Well, and that was the problem in Denver too.
Yeah. Even Denver is interesting too because Denver drafted Bo Nix, right? Yeah. And Sean Payne just got his hands on Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson was crap. Zach Wilson's crap in New York. but Sean Payton is a quarterback guy and knows, like, he took Drew Brees when nobody wanted him and turned him into what you see now.
I will give some credit of that to Drew Brees,
Of
but
course,
the
it's always Drew
Chargers,
Brees.
I will defend this decision to the day I die. Drew Brees, no one knew what he was going to be after the shoulder. When his shoulder got hurt, no one knew what he was going to be.
Can't let it go. The fact they probably would have won a Super Bowl with them, just so you know.
And you know what? It's not.
LaDainian even says it. LaDainian
There's
even said it.
listen. Let me finish. Okay. Is there probably a Super Bowl with Drew Brees in San Diego? Yes, you're right.
100% there is.
But knowing what they knew at the time, I think it was a good move, especially after how bad 2003 went, to go quarterback because you didn't know what Brees was going to be. And yes, New Orleans, New Orleans
to the
found
grave.
New Orleans found the third best quarterback of the generation. I mean, you could argue he's top 10 of all time.
Drew Brees?
Yeah.
All time?
Yeah. I would have him like 6 or 7.
Well, I can
He
go
got
through.
he got the chip.
I can go through every quarterback here. I tell you right now, if in the modern, you have to say, unfortunately, in the modern era, you have to say where he is because if you
Mm,
go all time there, you have Johnny Unitas, you have Sling Sammy Baugh, you got before he turned to crap, Bertie Kosar, you got John Elway, right? You got I wouldn't say Derek Bradley, we got Roger Staubach. It's the
okay,
same. You can't
so
really
so
go.
what are we saying?
I
Post
have to
merger?
say, like I'd say, I have to go. Modern era to me now would be like 2000s to now. That's like
Okay,
modern era to me because that's all shit in the past now. Because if you compare quarterbacks, it's hard to say, but like
different leagues. I mean,
different leagues, different times, right? Like don't forget, there's a point in time in the NFL where you could stab, you could jab a guy with your thumb in the eyeball, and nobody would get mad at you for it.
yeah, but that was the 70s. There were
The
like
fans,
no rules in the 70s.
yeah, that's why the Raiders got away with murder. So did Pittsburgh.
Yeah, good old Jack Lambert and Kenny Stabler.
Well, that was stable two different positions, so you know. But yeah,
I know,
I understand what you're going for.
I know. But
All
Stabler
right.
Stabler did his thing on the offense, and Lambert made sure that nobody could
Oh,
see after the game.
Lambert would have more calls on him nowadays than any other player in the league.
And for
You think Vontez Burfict was bad?
oh,
Jack
jeez, that's
Lambert,
a name I
Jack
haven't heard in a
Lambert,
minute.
Camp Lambert would have been suspended indefinitely by the league. Go watch that Cowboys Steelers Super Bowl back in '79. When he just manhandled the Cowboy players family on the ground. Nothing. Not even a sniff of a penalty.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to
Let's get back to the
wrestling
wrestling
news. Let's get
because
back to
there's
wrestling news.
one more item to discuss before we move on to SmackDown.
Yeah.
So all of Vince's shares have now been sold. He is completely out of TKO.
$776 million.
What do you even do with that much money? But anyways,
He's gonna pay off a lot of lawyers and a lot of people. Those
apparently,
lawyers are gonna basically be set for life now after this.
obviously. Um, so
It's
and
shitty because it's caused the stock to go down a little bit.
Nick Kahn has registered his to be sold.
Yeah, that's kind of
I
interesting.
don't know what that means with his position with the company.
Yeah, that's a little concerning actually what they want to
So
do there.
basically, what Sean Ross Sapp said, I was just reading this before I hopped on here. Um, it's basically right now it's a whole lot of nothing and means nothing.
Well,
But
in the
you
Janelle
know,
Grant suit, Nick Khan was named, but not in a way.
yeah, But
Not in a way that involved him with Janelle in more of a cover up kind of thing, I guess.
right,
So I think that might be where they're going with this. But still, like it's interesting.
right. So, I mean, who knows? We'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah.
Um, okay, ready to talk about the draft?
Let's talk about the draft here. I'm gonna say first, he state firstly right now that if you're gonna do drafts, guys, try to move people around instead of just saying, sure, drafted here, sure, drafted there. Same guys, just stay in the same spot.
So, okay.
Change up. Could have moved Seth. There you go.
So, the show opened up with Caleb Braxton and Paul Heyman.
Yes.
And Paul Heyman had a promo about how Roman Reigns has voluntarily pulled himself out of eligibility for the draft because he's not coming back for in the immediate future. So it would not be fair for a brand to draft him, and you know, so he stays on SmackDown because of it.
Makes sense.
But he did say he went on this rant, but he used the line, "What a real tribal chief would do."
Hmm.
I don't know if Solo heard this because Solo wasn't at the building yet, but I have a feeling that that's going to come up at some point.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we go to the ring. It's Corey Graves in the middle, and we start off with contract signing. AJ and Cody for Backlash.
Apparently, this is one of the most respectful contract signings in the history of the WWE.
Last one I can remember that didn't actually end with someone going through a table or
Yeah.
getting attacked.
Yeah. Apparently, AJ is really trying to shed that heel persona that he had with LA Knight.
Well,
Yeah.
he admitted that LA Knight got under his skin. That's why he lost at WrestleMania. He completely ignores the fact that he poked LA Knight in the eye, which set up his victory last week. But that's what a
We just
good
talked
heel.
about poking in the eye, didn't we?
That's what a good heel does.
Absolutely.
So uh, he goes on to say how much he respects Cody, and of course brings up the fact that his his dad helped him back in the day. Fun fact: there was a match in early TNA that was AJ Styles defending the NWA Heavyweight Championship against Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, wow.
That's a real match from like 2003. Early
Wow.
TNA. Like,
Well,
what's up?
they're both in Bullet Club, not at the same time, but they were definitely both in Bullet
Well,
Club.
he did make mention to the fact that they've traveled along a lot of the same roads,
Yeah.
and they both had to prove each other, prove themselves outside of WWE.
Yeah.
But Styles ends it by questioning Cody's ability to hold the weight that comes with being champion. Cody comes back with generic Cody, what do we want to talk about? And then he talks about mutual respect, and he says it all goes out the window with Backlash, and then goes to shake AJ's hand. I don't know. It was just like, it was there. But as AJ goes to leave, and you kind of think he was going to do the heel thing and jump Cody, but
Yeah.
Cody kept his eyes on him the whole time.
Okay.
AJ leaves, Cody leaves. Out comes Triple H to start the draft,
Nice.
and has Cody announce the picks for SmackDown, and he announced the picks for Raw.
Yeah.
And round one goes as follows. SmackDown's number one pick, they take Bianca Belair. Raw took Jey Uso.
Really.
SmackDown drafted Carmelo Hayes,
Yep.
which I believe everyone saw coming. And Raw's last pick of the first round was Seth Rollins.
My point. Move Seth to SmackDown, make it different.
It doesn't matter. Seth is hurt, and
Yeah,
he's probably going to be gone for the rest of the year.
still.
So that leads into our first match of the night. Um, it is Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus Angel and Berto.
Yep.
Um, Rey and Dragon Lee pick up the victory, and as the LWO
Yes.
is celebrating,
Yep.
out comes Santos Escobar.
Mm.
And can I rewind to what exactly I said last week,
Sure.
where it was going to come out that Carlito was the one that attacked Dragon Lee,
I
and
think
that
a, I think a lot of us thought it was
a
Carlito
lot
that
of
did
us
it.
knew it was Carlito.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you pay attention, you knew it was Carlito.
100%.
But anyways, Santos shows security cam footage of Carlito
Mhm.
uh, beating up Dragon Lee, probably in hopes that he would be picked as the replacement partner.
Yeah.
Um, so after this, Carlito's like, fuck. And he hits a backstabber on Dragon Lee and he just runs out of the crowd,
Mm.
runs to the crowd. Okay. Um, Bloodline show up. Solo and Tama. Solo asks Heyman, or says to Heyman, Bloodline's been drafted, right?
Mhm.
And Paul says, well, not yet.
Yeah.
And because the bloodline is kind of in flux right now
Yeah.
and they don't know, it's like a legit kind of it's a legit kind of like draft strategy type conversation. Like,
Yeah.
well, they don't know what they would be getting.
Yeah.
And then basically as Tama is about to rip Paul Heyman's throat out, Kevin Owens comes from behind, attacks both of them. They get pulled apart.
Yeah.
Um, round 2 of the draft. Um, sorry, it's been a minute.
I got it here. Round 2 of the draft. You had Michelle McCool and Tori Wilson came on out.
Yep.
These are the next round draft picks. SmackDown drafting Randy Orton. Raw
Yep.
drafting Braun Breaker. Did he just sign to SmackDown exclusively?
Yeah, I know. I thought about the same
So
thing.
yeah, okay, I thought I read that right. SmackDown gets Nia Jax, so that's new. That's different. That's nice. And Raw drafts Liv Morgan.
Which,
So
again, outside of Braun Breaker going to Raw, I think he'll flourish more over there.
yeah, I think he wants to be that. I think they want him to be the next, almost like a John Cena.
But after that, um,
Braun
Helis,
Breaker defeated
Helis,
Caesar Ben. Caesar
oh,
Caesar,
Cedric Alexander, yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah. So basically, Braun just kind of sidesteps whatever Cedric's doing. Cedric was doing like a handspring and to a springboard and
Yeah.
got caught in midair with a
Mm-hmm.
spear.
Yeah.
And so after that, you had Bianca come out for a promo, who's interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors
Mm-hmm.
because it was announced that Jade and Bianca are going to take on the Kabuki Warriors at Backlash for the women's tag titles.
Oh, we're crowned new champions, aren't we? Think
Probably.
so?
I
Probably.
think so.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's pretty obvious, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Because you're not going to beat Jade.
At least
I,
not right yet. At least not right yet. I think
um,
she's gonna have. I think she'll have a nice run for a while, and then I think she'll.
but
Like,
in a great transition,
yeah.
who comes brawling out from the entranceway? It's Mama and Owens again. And then Solo comes in to, you know,
Yeah.
uh, start laying the beat down, the two of them.
Yeah.
And Owens is saved by his buddy Randy Orton. And
What was it? Do you ever think you get to see Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga?
well, yeah, you got the the gun stun versus the RKO.
Yeah.
But actually, we are going to see it because it was announced that there's going to be a tag team match at Backlash,
Yeah.
and it's going to be KO and Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa.
Mm.
Um, I thought this was really well done.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get this out of the way. The Final Testament beat the crap out of New Catch Republic. So after that, into the third round,
Yeah.
we have LA Knight going to SmackDown, Ricochet staying on Raw, the Bloodline staying on SmackDown, and Sheamus staying on Raw. Okay, this was announced by the Dudley Boys. After that, we had a number one contenders match, Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. Winner takes on Bayley at Backlash. This ended in a no contest because Nia Jax came out and
Jack
just
Bailey, for I understand.
attacked everybody. But the segment ended with Tiffany getting up, throwing Bayley in the ring, and hitting the PME on both of them again, like she did last week.
Yeah.
So to solve this, the women's title is now a triple threat at Backlash. Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Bayley.
I think we called this last week.
Yep.
Say what you want, folks. We actually kind of know what we're talking about here.
So the final round of the night.
JBL and Teddy Long. Got to
yes.
this.
AJ Styles to SmackDown.
Yep.
The entirety of Alpha Academy, including Shad Gable,
yep.
staying on Raw. Andrade moving to SmackDown.
I wonder why.
And Kiana James getting called up from NXT going to Raw.
Yeah, good for her. She's quite a talented girl, actually. NXT. I've seen a couple of her matches. She wrestled Tiffany Stratton before and all that stuff. So it looks like
oh yeah,
we're starting to see a lot of continuity coming back up into the main roster. So it should be interesting to see what happens next especially on Raw Monday.
So that led to our main event. What I neglected to say after Cody announced the rest of the draft picks for round one, Carmelo Hayes came out and challenged Cody to a match, which this is our main event. It's nice. Carmelo Hayes versus Cody Rhodes. Really good match, back and forth. But Cody eventually catches Melo and beats him clean. And was kind of like, for a good 30, 45 seconds, like encouraging Carmelo afterwards.
Yeah.
Before celebrating, and the show went off with AJ was again about to attack Cody. And
you think
Cody caught him.
You think Carmelo Hayes is going to be face or heel on this roster?
He's sticking with the kind of he's sticking with what he was doing in NXT.
With Trick Williams?
No, basically right before he left.
So heel.
Yeah.
Good. So, actually, I'll be honest, seen a lot of his work in NXT. I like him way better as a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has that bastard kind of mentality.
So I do have some supplemental picks.
Oh, we have supplemental picks. Awesome.
Yeah. So the draft continued basically on X. And we have the new tag team of Cedric Alexander and Ashante. I believe they're staying on SmackDown.
Yeah. Jobbers for life, folks.
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to Raw.
I like that idea. That's good.
Baron Corbin is coming back up. He's going to SmackDown.
Oh, they're not going to reunite. Fuck, I'm not going to put him on Raw with Braun.
I know. I thought that might happen.
I thought that might too. Yeah.
And Ivar stayed on Raw.
Fair enough.
By the way, for those that didn't hear, Bahala was supposed to be in that Battle Royal Monday. Apparently, she's pregnant again
Yes.
with her second child. So, yeah,
Well,
awesome.
like it's
Congratulations to
gonna be
them.
Ivar by himself soon.
It's going to be
Again.
Ivar by himself now,
Yeah,
period.
poor guy.
And then the last three picks, or the last two picks, sorry.
Mhm.
The OC is staying on SmackDown, and Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark are staying on Raw. So, yeah, not too much movement
Mhm.
yet. I mean,
I think Raw, you see a lot more movement.
yeah, Monday's got 6 rounds. So
Yeah,
I think that's where most of the surprises are gonna
yeah,
come.
I think they're gonna reload Raw nicely just because Raw is still next year on USA Network till everything moves to till everything moves to Netflix.
Right.
I think they want to reload SmackDown, sorry, Raw to get it going because viewership, USA, make USA happy, and then once the whole deal's over, it's free for all. Probably the last time you ever see a draft.
Yeah. So
Probably.
but yeah, that was SmackDown. Um Honestly, this show went in ways that I didn't think it was gonna go. I think we spent the bulk of this talking about how much the Falcons fucked up.
See what happens this year when the season starts. We have it's April now. Mandatory mini camp starts May. Mandatory mini camp is in June, and then we have August, July
Mm-hmm.
preseason.
I
See what
know you're
happens.
excited.
Damn right, it's great, best time of year.
Um,
Of
you know
course,
what's
I'm
not,
not
you know
expecting much
what's
from my
not the
team,
best,
but
you know what's not the best time of year?
I
Having
feel
Shohei Ohtani come into Toronto and in his first at bat hit a home run.
yeah. It's also not fun too when you see the Leafs are just crapping it out. I mean, as usual, it's not nothing new, but still.
Game 4 tomorrow. Who do you have?
I'm gonna take the Leafs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Boston.
Go back to Boston down 3-1.
Yeah, it's fucking happen. Yeah.
Ugh,
They need to win tomorrow. They're every game they play now has to be
it's must win.
must win. They have to
I
start.
Yeah,
They really need Willie Nylander to come back because
who's apparently dealing with a
some kind
severe a severe migraine, which may have been a result of concussion.
of yeah. So there's something
Um,
going on. Apparently, it's a private
which
matter. They asked him about it as a private matter for him.
I don't know. It came out today that he's been dealing with a severe migraine.
I've heard migraines a couple days ago, and then I heard today something about yeah. You know what? Either way, one person doesn't help you win a game, but he's a big part.
That's what I
But
was saying today.
like,
An NHL roster is 18 players.
yeah, like if people in the NFL can come off the bench and help you do things, so could the NFL players. So it's NHL players. It's just saying. It's like the fact is, the Leafs' Achilles heel for the longest time has been goaltending and
Hmm.
defense for years, and
Yeah,
nobody wants to sit there and actually sit there and really truly admit it
it
because
would
they
not
never
if
address it.
it would not shock me. Now, mind you, by the time you guys hear this, this game is tonight.
Saturday night,
Yes,
today's
Saturday night.
Friday.
But I wonder if during Saturday afternoon is when they announce that Joseph Wall takes the net instead of Samsonov.
Isn't Wall 0-4 against Boston this year?
But
Just saying, isn't Wall 0-4 versus Boston this year?
don't know. Is he?
Might be.
Anyways, it
Look,
should be a good game regardless. Both like all three games have been good to watch.
yeah, they have been. I mean, it's the NHL playoffs, man. Everything gets better. Everything's better in the playoffs. So it's a great week. Dodgers are in town. Boy, that 12-2 slapping today was a lot of fun. But it's the Dodgers, it's the Jays.
On
Still
that
early.
note, I'm gonna get us out of here.
Get us out of here.
Thank you all for listening. Um, we appreciate the continued support. Uh, we'll we'll be back probably Tuesday is when I'll put it up of our
Raw.
raw review. And
Rest of the draft.
Yeah, maybe we talk about the rest of the draft. Maybe we just, I don't know. Maybe we talk more NHL playoffs. Maybe the Leafs are eliminated by the time you guys hear our next episode.
Are they playing back to back Saturday, Sunday?
No, no, they're playing Saturday, Monday.
Ooh.
But by the time they hear the next episode,
Oh, it's time
maybe,
contract. After that's time contract in baseball.
right. So head over to YouTube, find us DA Wrestling Podcast. Go follow us on Instagram and X, DA Sports Podcast, DA Sports Pod. He is 8% 1982 on Instagram, Andrew DA Sports on TikTok. I'm DLines1991 on Twitter. And we'll catch you down the road.
By the way, you know your Chargers drafted a wide receiver and a linebacker from Michigan that played under Jim Harbaugh.
That's amazing.
That's a great pick, actually, especially on defense.
I heard that receiver is a
Pretty good.
dog.
Yeah. So like they're loading up with Jim Harbaugh. He's going to draft that thing well. Cowboys actually drafted an edge rusher. They're actually going a lot of offense. They had an edge rusher and they went offensive line as well again in the second round. So I'm quite happy actually. Have a good night, everybody. It's draft season. Best time of the year. Besides the actual
It's
season.
the most wonderful time
of the
the year.
Have a good night, everybody.